A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. This is chapter 3, part 4 of How to Be a Happy Muslim Insha'Allah. A special thanks to my 9-year-old son Ibrahim for helping me to record these videos. Trusting in Allah also means that we trust that His commandments are really for our own good. When Allah commands us to stay away from fornication and alcohol and to get married, these are actually for our own benefit. We must trust that the teachings of Islam are good for us, although at times they can be challenging. The following 2 stories were contributed by Sister Amal Darwish. The first is a famous story that illustrates one man's trust in Allah. A student of religion was living in Damascus a couple of 100 years ago. Being from a remote village and dedicating his life to religious studies, he fell on very hard times and his money ran out. One day, while he was studying, he could not focus well because hunger became so severe, and he remembered that he had not had a meal in 3 days. He decided to go for a walk to take his mind off the hunger. He went on the roof of the building in which he was renting a small room. The buildings in those days were so close that he could easily jump from one roof to the next. While doing so, a very appetizing smell of food suddenly filled his nostrils. He could tell the smell was coming from a nearby open window. He went closer to the window, which was open, and he saw a bubbling pot of stew on the stove in an empty kitchen. His stomach was rumbling. He just could not resist. He jumped into the kitchen, lifted the lid, and saw that it was the famous Damascene eggplant stew. He was just about to raise a tasty morsel to his mouth when he suddenly remembered that Allah was watching him and that he would be stealing something that did not belong to him. He put the lid back, got out the window, and rushed to the masjid to pray for forgiveness. While at the masjid, he saw a beautiful young woman enter, accompanied by an older one. They went and asked the Imam something. Soon, the Imam was signaling the man to come forward. He did. The Imam explained that the younger woman, accompanied by her mother, was a recent widow, and her mom wanted her to remarry as soon as possible, since her iddah had just expired and she did not wish to be alone. Her only condition was that she wanted a righteous husband. The Imam told the young man, "You are the most righteous of the single men that I know, so marry her." The man answered that he had no money to offer as a bride gift and for marriage expenses. The Imam replied that the young woman had inherited a nice fortune from her late husband and did not need anything except for another righteous husband. The man then agreed to marry her. The Imam performed the nikah immediately. The bride then led her new husband back to her home, where she offered him food she had just cooked earlier. It was the same pot of food he had been tempted by in that empty kitchen, which was now his very own family kitchen. Allah gave him in a halal way what he had been tempted to acquire by way of haram. This second story is a personal story about Sister Amal's brother. My brother lives in Europe. He is single and has a pet Brazilian sun parakeet, also called sun canheur, that he has named Marivo. Marivo's species is that of highly intelligent, colorful birds, about 12 inches long, who thrive on companionship and can develop very strong bonds with their human owners. They need a lot of room, so they must be able to fly freely inside one's house for at least part of the day. My brother lives in a tiny apartment, so he lets her fly out the window every day and assures me that, without fail, she always comes back to him after 1 or 2 hours. One morning recently, he was going through his morning routine when he heard her making shrill noises outside the window. It sounded like she was screaming. My brother got dressed and went outside, where he found her perched on a tree branch near his apartment building. A falcon swooped down and knocked her to the ground. My brother immediately jumped to try and protect her, but before he could reach her, he tripped and fell face down. In that same instant, the falcon swooped down again and grabbed her with his talons and took off with his prey. My brother was very distraught and struggled to calm himself down. He loved that bird so much. It pained him that she would soon become the lunch of this ruthless falcon. Despite the futility of going after them, he decided to comb the nearby wooded area, looking for any trace of blood or colorful feathers, anything to bury and get some sense of closure. He returned home 2 hours later empty-handed. Just as he was about to enter the building, the bright, colorful Marivo came to perch on that same branch where the falcon attacked her earlier. She began singing very happily, all the while eyeing my brother. She sang for about 10 minutes, and then she came down to perch on his shoulder like she normally did. He examined her for any sign of injury, a broken wing, a missing tail, but none could be found. He told me not a single feather was amiss. Then he realized that this was a direct result of the du'as he made for her every Friday when he went to Jummah prayer. He would say, "O Allah, I entrust you with Marivo and I leave her in your care, protection, kindness, and mercy." Moral of the story: if you love someone or something, don't panic about what might befall them. Just give them and trust to Allah, and He will protect them far better than you can. This should eliminate many a source of anxiety in your life. I should add that I told him that her singing on the branch before rejoining him was probably her way of making tasbih and thanking Allah for protecting her. A final thought on remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Remember your Lord morning and evening, deep in your heart, with humility and with fear, and also in a low voice. Do not be of those who are heedless. The Holy Quran, chapter 7, verse 205. Keep your thoughts tuned to the station of La ilaha illallah. There is no God except for Allah. If your brain station is not on that station, you are losing valuable blessings. This also means that you let go of other thoughts. When you learn to let go of your thoughts, you will really understand the meaning of the verse, "Verily, in the remembrance of Allah do hearts find rest." Chapter 13, verse 28. How do you let go of your thoughts and rise above the many thoughts that bring you down? You try to operate from a higher level, a level that combines your heart and mind and uses your intuition. When you let go of your thoughts, you will feel a sense of rising, and you will find rest. You will be happy, and you will use your intuition, which comes from your experiences, knowledge, and inner wisdom, to live a happy life and to solve any problems that you have. Happiness hint: find relaxation by letting go of all thoughts except for La ilaha illallah.